Welcome back to the MMA Plug, presented to you by the Talk of Colorado on 98.1 FM, Mile High Sports Radio. I'm your host, Jordan Kurtz, sitting here alongside UFC middleweight Josh Friend. If you're following us along line on the segments, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button and share along so that we can keep this content going out there to all you wonderful MMA fans out there. Don't forget that next month for UFC 274, we are going to be hosting a watch party at Plaza 38. That is located here in Denver, Colorado at 3550 West 38th Avenue, unit number 98. Now, Josh, this weekend, Bellator is also back in action, and we have a highly anticipated rematch against one of their most dominant champions, who is now the challenger, taking on one of their brightest prospects who finished that man and took that title away. We have a matchup between AJ McKee taking on Patricio Pitbull. Josh, what are your thoughts on this rematch?
We're talking about arguably the face of Bellator right now.
Correct.
AJ McKee is an absolute stud. He's an absolute superstar. And how he finished Patricio Pitbull in the first fight was phenomenal. We don't really ever see a Pitbull brother get finished like that. And I really am interested to see the way Patricio comes and attacks this fight this time.
Josh, you said something very, very interesting right there, and I'm going to challenge that for a second. Not necessarily to you, but maybe this is a challenge at Bellator. Yes, I do believe that he should be the face of your organization, that he should be that marquee name guy, star, whatever you want to say. But if you were to put up AJ McKee's picture out there on, say, just a general internet fan forum or poster, whatever you want to say, how many people out there would be able to correctly identify and name him?
If we're talking about just the stands and not like MMA fans or jiu-jitsu fans or stoners, you know, just with his involvement with high rollers and everything, I would say that not enough people.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, though, to be the face of your organization, to be one of your biggest stars, one of those guys that you hopefully do not lose as an organization. Are you putting enough push into him from the marketing standpoint? Because I can guarantee you that there's a guy on that card that everybody knows who the hell he is.
Yeah.
And he's not a champion. He's never even been close to a title fight.
Yeah, and I see your point there. I completely agree with you because it's always been in the back of my head that I don't think that they do enough for him as a champion or just as a competitor in general for Bellator.
Let's just keep it into perspective that in the first fight between AJ McKee and Pitbull, that went head-to-head that night with the UFC Fight Night, which was Uriah Hall taking on Sean Strickland. Granted, Bellator is going to have a lower overall viewership rate just because of them being behind a paywall, but the numbers were absolutely staggering, Josh. The viewership rate on average was roughly around 1 million for Sean Strickland and Uriah Hall. The viewership for McKee and Pitbull, arguably the biggest title fight in Bellator history, if not one of them, in between 150 and 200,000 peak viewership rate.
Yeah.
So that just kind of goes to show you how staggering the take rate is for some of these guys.
Correct me if I'm wrong. That was for $1 million, right?
That was for it all. That was the Grand Prix finale.
The Grand Prix finale. And I take nothing away from Sean Strickland or Uriah Hall, but that fight was not even comparable in entertainment value to that fight with Pitbull and AJ McKee. And I think that is just a disservice. But it's another thing. That's exactly why we're talking about it. It's just that's why the UFC currently is number one, and Bellator, in a sense, will always be below the UFC just based on what the promotion does for its fighters promotional-wise.
Certainly. Now, in terms of this rematch here, Josh, who do you pick?
I'm going to have to go with AJ McKee. I really don't think that Pitbull is going to have what it takes to come in here and get his belt back. You know, I think that it's going to be a tough fight. I think it's going to maybe go a little bit longer than the first fight. But I think overall, AJ McKee's going to walk away a winner.
Overall, and especially based on the last fight, I'm going to have to roll with you there. The only difference is, or the only thing that I don't know, just because I haven't seen any of the pictures or anything this week from the media, Pitbull might have had one of them Brazilian cocktails in between these two fights. So, we don't know what might be looking out there by the time that Saturday night comes.
Bellator don't test either, so
Exactly.
Hey, buddy.
That's my point. They will stop at no cost to be able to go out there, or no lengths to go out there and get that title back, I feel like.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. That helps us continue to produce this original MMA content and bring it for you every single week. Tune in to the MMA Plug presented by DenverSportsBetting.com on 98.1 FM, Mile High Sports Radio on Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m.
or live stream at DenverSportsBetting.com/radio.